Today, I want to talk about SHX and how they're positioning themselves to be a financial institution, or what we peasants call a bank, of the rapidly approaching tokenized economy. And they are already connected to a lot of those kinds of institutions. They are very directly connected to all 12 Federal Reserve banks too. So here is a short clip that I have shown before, but I didn't catch this one part.
A quick overview on how ACH works in a retail transaction. There's a simple set of participants. The consumer, the consumer's bank. The retailer and the retailer's bank. And us, Stronghold, and our bank is the bridge between them.
Right, so...
And us, Stronghold, and our bank is the bridge between them.
He just said our bank, and I didn't pick up on that in the past, so I appreciate that, K. Thingall, and I think that got called out by someone else actually. Oh yeah, it's right here in front of me. As far as how they're positioning themselves to be a choice financial institution for an incoming tokenized economy, here is the chief executive officer of BlackRock, who is now talking about tokenizing everything.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual.
Now, I have a couple of notes there. One, the whole talk about the IDs, there's a couple of rabbit holes on that I won't touch on here, but there are projects that are working very closely on that right now. One of them I have actually come across is on XLM, and it's called Velo, and I'll be putting out more information on their work around a digital ID. And two is that customization. I have done a BlackRock's Aladdin platform is an AI trading tool that does much more than just customized trades and portfolios. So if there was ever a time to pay attention to the people in control, it's now. And this is in response to Tammy Camp coming back on X and putting out a lot of very positive tweets that don't really relate to anything in particular, but with the success that SHX has had over the last, 2 months or so now, it's almost as if she's trying to say something without actually saying it. And I think it could be trying to communicate that good things are on their way. So here's her talking about how they are pretty much like a bank.
The technical aspects are quite straightforward and fun. I would say that a part of my day, and perhaps Sean's as well, is that I spend probably 80% of my time in regulatory policy. And we try to kind of translate that into code, as well as get financial institutions such as traditional banks or hedge funds to kind of get comfortable with the systems that we have in place.
So I want to pull a couple of pieces from crypto banker SHX, just because he puts it a lot more eloquently, and this piece is connected into primarily SHX and its role in what a financial institution in the upcoming tokenized economy would actually have.
So Stronghold's mission, as we all know, is to provide fast, secure, and accessible financial services for all, which aligns with the Alliance's focus on removing barriers as the industry evolves. Stronghold's virtual payment network system, Stronghold Net, enables interoperability between existing and emerging payment technology. So when we start to begin and look at who else is members of this alliance, it very much becomes quite quickly apparent that it is all of the large financial institutions, so American Express, Bank of America. We have BNY Mellon there, Capital One, Citibank, Commerce Bank. We have eBay. We have all of the Federal Reserve banks as well. IBM, who is obviously a partner, strategic partner of Stronghold, and was Stronghold's first ever client, JP Morgan. Also, as we move down, we will see that Stronghold is involved here.
And I wanted to introduce that because the connections are extremely impressive on their own, but I will also talk about JPM here in just a bit. And this is a part of a video that he did on how they are already a bank right now, and again concentrating on SHX. I will talk about their USD token more in this video because that ties much more directly into the kinds of regulation required of financial institutions, in my own humble opinion.
Comes to Stronghold Net, when it comes to that governance voting, but also when we see the full features of Stronghold Net being unleashed, when we have that regulation passed in the US, you'll start to potentially see the price increase, which means that when we're thinking about it being a liquidity tool, very much there will be pools, I believe, within Stronghold Net in which people can stake their SHX and lend it out via the DeFi program. Now, they already have a DeFi merchant advance payments and loans system and an option available within the network. This is real world utility already being allowed to happen on Stronghold Net.
And that is also one of the functions of a bank. You lend out your reserves, and the reserves are Stronghold USD, and I will come back to that in just a bit now. But on the regulatory part, they got their SOC2 Type 2 completed in why don't they have a date on here? I'm not sure. I think it was 2022. Yeah, it was in September of 2022. So that is a cybersecurity audit to ensure that things are actually working how it should. And I found a little bit more on that because that is not anything that I just happened to know. So there are two types. It has a few types. There's SOC 1, 2, and 3, and we are talking about SOC 2, which are for organizations that keep, process, or transmit any kind of customer data, which is a bank. So they got the Type 2, which actually evaluates what kinds of controls they have over an extended period of time as compared to a Type 1, which just evaluates that all of those controls are actually in existence, which is not as robust. So that involves infrastructure, software, people, information, and procedures. So who needs one? Well, it will help to allow businesses to expand and net contracts with larger enterprises that know that their data is a prime target for cyber crime. That sounds like a financial institution that would want to concentrate on tokenized assets in a new economy where everything is tokenized. So here is the follow the money map that was put together by XX and Utility Theory, I think, And here is the part of it that concentrates on SHX. And it does tie into JPM as well, and it also ties into Coinbase. I'm still attempting to find out more about the exact direct connections and what they entail. But I decided to ask if JPM is SOC2 Type 2 compliant. Well, it is not, because they don't really play that role oftentimes, but there is some information that would suggest that they have implemented those kinds of controls internally for parts of their systems and operations. So that does have some information in here that I'm not an expert in, so I would just be reading off of a screen, which is not exactly interesting. So just know that there are signs that point to these very large financial institutions being SOC2 Type 2 compliant. And now I want to pivot over to their USD token, which is only open to IBM WorldWire participants at this point in time, which is primarily their more institutional clients. And I did find this, it's a questionnaire on the USD token. I'm not exactly sure when it is from. It seems old, but there is a piece in here that is interesting. What is your coin, can't say STs, with respect to? Some fixed value tokens use advanced algorithms to ensure that their coin is always pegged by creating and destroying coins. Our coin does not sink. It actually is the USD because it is fully backed by Prime Trust, which is a custodian, and all of their assets and accounts are 100% backed by cash deposits. So here are some clips from the old USD token white paper that is not publicly online anymore, but I was able to capture all of the content in there. So again, the USD token is the USD because all of the funds are fully backed, and their USD token compares very well up against a lot of others, primarily because it is 100% backed, and it has built-in regulatory tech, and it runs on XLM, which makes it quick and cheap. So how does it actually work? Now, this part is where it actually begins to look as if it's operating as a bank, as if it's operating as a financial institution of a tokenized economy where everything is tokenized. So you essentially put USD into a, can't say ST's account, which are then transferred in Prime Trust, and then that gets converted into the USD token that runs on XLM, and then that can be moved and converted into any other kind of tokenized asset. And then, of course, to withdraw, it is the exact opposite, but they are the on and off ramp to the XLM network. So what are the applications of this? And here's where it really begins to sound as if it is a financial institution in an economy where everything is tokenized. So you've got asset management, institutional trading, payments, foreign exchange. All of those things are what traditional financial institutions now are able to offer, but it takes a lot more time and it's a lot more expensive. So how secure is the collateral behind the USD token? Well, it is handled by an SEC qualified custodian, and deposits are only at FDIC insured banks, which in my opinion doesn't exactly mean a whole lot, but it is a lot more than what tokens Tether are able to 100% prove. And there are some important points here that just add on to that. So you've got OTC brokerage with secure two-sided transactions that include most digital assets and tokens. You've got custody as well, and a market making program which allows customers and investors to create and profit from LPs while increasing liquidity on the exchange. All of these things here are exactly what one would expect out of a financial institution in an economy where every single thing ends up tokenized.